What is up, dudes? Welcome back to the Banger Broadcast. Today we're doing our 2011 Banger Bracket. Michael, you want to break it down?
Absolutely. So what we got here is the same setup as our first Banger Bracket that we did for 2016 music. If you haven't listened to that, go ahead and listen to episode 1 of our podcast. But I'll go through the rules again. So we filtered out all the good music, all the good albums of 2011. We picked our top 10, which was pretty much objective, but we didn't like backyard football picks. Eric gets his first pick, I get my second pick, and so on and so forth. We have a list of honorable mentions as well, but the bracket format is pretty simple. We seeded the 4 and 5 picks together, and then from there it's just normal bracket scenario seeding. So we got the 2 in the intro round, and then we'll go into an Elite 8, Final 4, and then a semifinal of just the 2, and then the winner shall be crowned. So here we'll switch off just Eric's first pick versus my first pick, and our second picks and so on, just so we know the pecking order. So Eric, go ahead.
Okay, my first album I picked was Watch the Throne by Jay-Z and Kanye West.
Right. My first was Take Care by Drake.
My second pick was Section 80 from Kendrick Lamar.
My second was The Carter 4 by Lil Wayne.
My third pick was Cold World, The Sideline Story from J. Cole.
My third pick was Camp by Childish.
My fourth pick was Live Love ASAP from A$AP Rocky.
My fourth was Lasers by Lupe Fiasco.
My fifth pick was Talk That Talk from Rihanna.
My fifth pick was Rolling Papers by Wiz Khalifa. So the honorable mention section right here, we have Goblin. Some people might think that's in the top 10, but I really don't know if Tyler caught the full flavor of what he's capable of in that first album. We're putting it as an honorable mention.
Narrowly missed the top 10.
It was discussed. But actually, we didn't even write this one in here. Another EP, not a technical album, but Nostalgia Ultra by Frank Ocean. Great songs, great music. So that's missing out on the top 10, but we got to highlight that as an honorable mention. But then we got the Endless Summer Mixtape. I'm a G-Eazy fan, so I'm adding that in. You should check it out.
Let's just say it rightfully didn't make the list.
All right. We got Double MG Presents Self-Made Volume 1, Finally Famous, Hell the Sequel, Ambition, Fear of God 2, Let Us Pray, Fame, and 4. So, with that said, let's just jump right into the bracket. Why don't we? So, here in this first little entry round, we got Lasers versus Talk That Talk. My fourth pick versus Eric's fifth pick.
Okay, I'm going to break down the track list for both of these albums. And starting with Lasers, we have Letting Go, Words I Never Said, Till I Get There, I Don't Want to Care Right Now, Out of My Head, The Show Goes On, Beautiful Lasers, Coming Up, State Run Radio, Break the Chain, All Black Everything, and Never Forget You.
And then Talk That Talk.
With Talk That Talk, we have You the One, Where Have You Been, We Found Love, Talk That Talk, Cockiness, Birthday Cake, We All Want Love, Drunk on Love, Rock Me Out, Watch and Learn, Farewell, Red Lipstick, Do Your Thing, Fool in Love, and there we go.
So I got to highlight some of the songs from Lasers here. I mean, Lasers was an incredible album. I think if not a lot of people listen to all Lupe's work, and even I didn't think super highly of it, but I mean, going back into it, it's pretty much all fire. Words I Never Said, Till I Get There, I Don't Want to Care Right Now are 3 of my favorites, and then Beautiful Lasers 2. And we all know Show Goes On, but I think those ones are really important to highlight. But Talk That Talk had a lot of, it was a 2011 sound for sure. I think even just having Jay-Z as a collab gave it a little bit more hip hop and rap flavor for that one song. But besides that, a lot of good Rihanna hits, but a lot of hits in general. I don't know where I stand as far as its 2011 ranking, but what are your thoughts, Eric?
Yeah, I love Talk That Talk, but it is still like hip hop esque, but it's not necessarily hip hop. Some of my favorite songs, like probably ones everyone knows, like Where Have You Been, We Found Love, Talk That Talk, Birthday Cake, Drunk on Love. All great songs. And then
Watch and Learn's my favorite. That's definitely my favorite.
Yep. But moving back to Lasers, there's a reason it was nominated for the best rap album that year. A lot of people, like Michael said, may not be that familiar with Lupe's work, but highly recommend one of his best projects.
I'm going to go with that for my pick here. I think I'm gonna take that over Talk That Talk. What's your
Yeah,
thought?
no disrespect to Rihanna. Everyone loves Rihanna, but I think Lasers gets the edge
Rihanna's
here.
one of my favorite female artists, one of my favorite artists in general. But I mean, we're gonna hand this one to Lupe for
Favorite
2011.
females in general. All right.
So next little matchup here, we got Live Love ASAP, Eric's fourth pick versus Rolling Papers, my fifth pick.
All right, I'm gonna run through the track list. We have for Live Love ASAP, we have Palace, Peso, Bass, What's Up, Brand New Guy, Purple Swag, Get Lit, Trilla, Keep It G, Houston Old Head, Acid Drip, Leaf, Roll One Up, Demons, and Sandman. And then I'll go down to Rolling Papers. And then we have for Rolling Papers, When I'm Gone, On My Level, Black and Yellow, Roll Up, Hopes and Dreams, Wake Up, The Race, Star of the Show, No Sleep, Get Your Shit, Top Floor, Fly Solo, Rooftops, and Cameras.
So, I mean, I'm gonna start with Rolling Papers here. We all knew Black and Yellow, we all knew Roll Up, but Wake Up, The Race, No Sleep, all pretty solid hits on my level too. I mean, I think Rolling Papers definitely had it was like I said, that 2011 sound. It nailed the 2011 sound, and Wiz was huge. This was kind of Wiz's peak. He was featuring all over the place. He had a lot of stuff going on with. I mean, anything Taylor Gang, anything. I mean, I feel like he was in almost every Juicy album, Juicy J, even though Juicy didn't have a release in 2011. But I mean, he was all over the board here, and I think he really made his mark in 2011. So I don't know. He's got some leverage here, but
Yeah,
Live Love ASAP. I mean, it's solid. I think Purple
for,
Swag is my favorite. I think I might say.
yeah, for a debut project here from ASAP Rocky, it's pretty good. I'd still probably rank it last when it comes to like all of his projects, but for a debut album, not bad at all.
I
Still
mean,
my go ahead.
underrated picks too, like Bass, Sandman. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot in there.
Yep.
What are your thoughts? And I know you love Peso too. I mean, there was a lot of great songs, but for like an all-encompassing 2011 sound,
Yeah, when you look at 2011 on a like this like grand spectrum, I mean, going back to Black and Yellow, everyone knows the song. People who didn't even like hip hop were still singing that song,
it was the
and
anthem of the Steelers. I
yeah,
mean, it was taking the nation. So
people were making remixes of it for their teams. Like it was
that's my
everywhere.
vote. That's my vote.
Yeah.
Rolling Papers is my vote.
I'm gonna have to agree with you there, but respect to
All
ASAP.
right. Not a lot of contests so far as we move into the Elite Eight. So we'll start in the middle section here with the songs we haven't or the albums we haven't discussed yet. We got the Carter Four, my second pick versus Cole World. What's the full title? Cole World: The Sideline Story by
Yep.
J. Cole. So that was Eric's third. Let's get into it. I mean,
We'll
Lil
start
Wayne-
with the track list for
Oh,
the
right,
Carter
right. Go
4.
to the track list.
Yeah.
I'll save my spiels.
We have intro, blunt blowing, Mega Man, 6 foot, 7 foot, Nightmares of the Bottom, She Will, How to Hate, Interlude, John, Abortion, So Special, How to Love, President Carter, It's Good, and outro. And then moving on to Cole World, we have the intro, Dollar in a Dream 3, Can't Get Enough, Lights Please, Interlude, Sideline Story, Mr. Nice Watch, Cole World, In the Morning, Lost Ones, Nobody's Perfect, Never Told, Rise and Shine, God's Gift, Breakdown, Workout, Who Dat, and Daddy's Little Girl.
So
I know you got a lot to say about Carter 4, so let me have it, Mike.
so Lil Wayne was an artist. Let's get that straight first and foremost. I don't care what anybody says, but Lil Wayne was an undisputed genius. And I mean, so first of all these songs, I hear this in my mixes and my playlists all the time because I just love the Carter 4. I think the Carter 4 is his best album. Some people might vote Carter 3, some people might vote Carter 5, but I think Carter 4 is his best album, and like all these, in my opinion, are hits. I don't know if they're hits to radio culture or the rest of what
Mainstream,
people are thinking, but they're all hits in my book. I think John was one of the undisputed best songs of all time, even though it was kind of a spin-off of Rick Ross's already existing "I'm Not a Star." But I mean, with the Rick feature, it was a great song and a great album. But let's not front. I was 10 years old when this album came out. I think Eric was 11 back in 2011. But every single word Lil Wayne says makes sense to me. I don't think as at that age, Cole World, it probably did not digest and resonate in my brain the same way.
Yeah, a lot more like complex, like lyrical structures.
Even though Cole World might have been more lyrical, I think like Carter 4, it, like the things Lil Wayne said just made perfect sense. You don't have to know music. You don't even have to speak English. You know exactly what he's saying. And I think, on John, one of the best ones, one of the best lines, I mean, from John was, "The guns are drawn, and I ain't talking about a sketch. I pay these bitches with a reality check." Like, I know, reality checks aren't legal tender, but it made so much sense when you compile it into that little lyric right there. I mean, like, mine's so sharp, I fuck around and cut my head off. And then one of my favorites that he says was, "Jumped on the celly, called Machiavelli. He said he was gravy. I said I was jelly." And there's no part of you that knows what that means. I know Lil Wayne doesn't even know what that means, but we all kind of understand what it meant on a subliminal note. Like, I think he just has this way of being able to explain things to a 10-year-old, nonetheless, that make perfect sense. And it's so basic. He speaks in these relics and these metaphors that just click. And I don't know, it's just genius to me. Some people think it was simplistic, but I think it's genius. Now on the flip side, we got Cole World,
The
and
debut album from J. Cole.
it's just as strong. Like, you got Everybody Knows, Workout, but I think that's like on the bottom
Yeah,
of
can't get
this
enough
list.
too.
Like, even Lost Ones. So J. Cole wrote a whole song about getting a girl pregnant, confronting her with that tough conversation. I don't want to be an abandoning father. Like, could we talk about abortion? Like, what are the next steps? And it was just so raw and, like, kind of emotional. And you don't hear many people putting music like that out. It was just this completely different view to what rap could be. And I think it was just kind of insane that he was even putting some of this stuff into words. And that's, again, like, that's just what he does. He takes these huge stories and just makes it a song. And instead of just reading this poem or this biography, you're like, oh God, this is a rap masterclass. And so it's really hard to put it up. These are two complete opposite sides of the spectrum between Lil Wayne and J. Cole. But I mean, but Carter 4, it had How to Love too. And I mean, that was one where when Lil Wayne slowed it down, it is in Mirror. Like, it's just a different kind of, it's hard to explain, but it's a different kind of Wayne. And the album definitely has a lot of dimension. Same with J. Cole, but I don't know. What are your thoughts, Eric? Give me some imagery here.
Yeah, of course. Starting with the Carter 4, like you said, when we were like around that age, 10, 11. I mean, all these songs were everywhere, at least for me. I mean, everyone knows 6 foot, 7 foot.
Mm.
Everyone knows like How to Love, and especially like How to Love. Everyone probably knew Lil Wayne from back in like the early 2000s, which like when you hear How to Love, it's just like hits you with like a right hook. You didn't expect it, but
Yeah,
I still love that song. But moving on to the Cold World, which I slightly prefer better. I mean, at this time, J. Cole was co-signed by Jay-Z, so he had backing. But even like with that backing, he still took a very brave approach by going like against the grain and like trying to attack more serious topics. Which it really just depends on the listener. If you're in it for more like catchy tunes or like what Michael said, like some clever but also silly wordplay, the Carter 4 might be your album. But if you're looking for more of a storytelling project, the Cold World might be your album.
the way I'll cap it off is that, yeah, Cold World was more lyrical. It was maybe definitely a more cohesive project. It was this all-encompassing sound, and it was such a kick-ass opener from J. Cole. But the Carter 4, it was just, again, one of those times where the other rappers in his absolute prime, I think Lil Wayne was just on a different level this year. There was so many more songs that people knew because so much of Cole World just got, like, swept under the rug. Not a lot of people really digested the deep tracks. And then the way I'll put it is, Lil Wayne, he's a global communicator. Like, I don't know how to say fuck you in every language on earth, but if I put my middle finger up, everybody knows exactly what I'm saying. I think Lil Wayne pretty much does the exact same thing here. He could say anything, whether it's actual words or not, whether it's English or not, whether it makes sense or not. He just says it, and we all understand, and it's beautiful. And that's my pick. I'm gonna vote for Carter 4 over Cole World in this round. For 2011 sound, again, I'm just siding with
Agreed.
what might be a little bit more.
Yeah,
You know,
Lil Wayne was in his bag like 2007 to 2011. So I agree with you
he's
that
been in
this
his
is
bag since 1999.
yeah.
But anyways, we'll move on. So section 80, Eric's second pick versus Camp, my third pick. Go through the track list,
All right. Let me find it real quick.
please.
Okay. Section 80. We have Fuck Your Ethnicity, Hole Up, ADHD, No Makeup, Tammy's Song, Chapter 6, Ronald Reagan Era, Poor Man's Dreams, The Spiteful Chant, Chapter 10, Keisha's Song, and Rigor Mortis. And then Cushion Corinthians, Blow My High, and then Absol's outro, and then, of course, High Power. Sorry. And then moving on to Camp, we have Outside, Firefly, Bonfire, All the Shine, Let Her Home, Heartbeat, Backpackers, LES, Hold You Down, Kids, You See Me, Sunrise, and That Power.
I want to give you the floor, but I also have a little bit to spiel right here, so I'm just going to let loose. Section 80, first of all, absolute masterclass. I think it was the first, like, I almost consider this Kendrick's first real album, just because it was like, this is the Kendrick we know and love.
First studio album, yeah.
Yeah, but still, even despite any other earlier EP or project or mixtape, I mean, this was Kendrick. He just jumped into it and he hooked everybody right away. And I mean, so some of the things I love, first of all, High Power, all-time top 10 song for me, all-time top 10, and that alone really lets it stand out a little bit. Section 80 as a whole, I think it was so deep. Again, similar to J. Cole and similar to the other Kendrick albums. I mean, he just takes this part of his life and he just spreads it out through an entire album, and it makes sense. It's beautiful. It all follows a theme. Even like when you go through this track list and there's the subtitles, like Keisha Song in parentheses Her Pain. I forget what all the actual titles.
Yeah, like Ronald Reagan Era, His Evils, and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just it all has that message tied.
You can tell he was like a step above the crowd, like already with his first project or first studio album.
Kendrick and Childish they just understood the assignment better than most rappers. I mean, they knew exactly what they were doing, and they had such a cohesive plan going into this. One of the other things that I love about Section 80, kind of just like on a funny note, is the narrator, where it starts off at the very beginning. Even you just hear this deep voice over a crackling fire, and he's like, I want to thank you guys all for coming out here tonight. He has a deeper meaning to it. He was talking about how the fire represents like their passion burning and stuff like that, but I can't help but think it's funny because we know this is the heart of Compton, not like some nature retreat by a campfire. And I just imagine all these people just gather around this trash can fire burning on the side of the street. It just seems hilarious to me. But going into Camp, I mean, Childish Gambino was a mastermind. He self-proclaims himself the son of Kanye, and for a good reason. Like he has so many
obvious Kanye influences.
But yeah, he has obvious like connections and ties to all of his lines. I feel like there's nothing that he says just to say. Like you could look up in an encyclopedia every single line. There's a deeper meaning to every ad lib he adds in. So it's just, I mean, for somebody who just loves hunting through that kind of crap, like I love Camp so much. And I mean, he had his first project, Cul-de-sac, too, which is a mixtape or an EP. But I mean, this again was his first studio appearance, and it was just a different layer, you know, like his first full studio release after Cul-de-sac, and I forget what the other one is, the other EP with like Freaks and Geeks. But anyways, I mean, he just went so try hard with his music. Like he didn't leave anything on the table. He was writing like this was his only album to write. But yeah, we know that's not the case because he transitioned this so perfectly into Because the Internet. Like the last song on Camp, That Power, the whole poetic outro where he's just talking as himself on a bus, like it's beautiful. It gives me goosebumps, and I think I don't even know where to stand on this, but he's a genius. It works so well. Let me hear your thoughts.
Yeah, touching on Camp first. I mean, Gambino, like you obviously know, like Don Glover, great actor, shows like Atlanta and Community. But I mean, he just shows that he's just that talented when he shows off his singing prowess, his writing prowess, his rapping prowess. I mean, rapping, everyone knows Bonfire. I mean, singing like Heartbeat, Hold You Down. I mean, like you never see people who are that good at both, like on a first album like that. So that's just something I wanted to point out. And then, going to Section 80. I mean, a lot of like rap albums at this time weren't as like, I don't know how to say it, but touch such serious topics like Kendrick Lamar can, and he can really like wrap you around in a story. And I've never like heard another artist like that who can tell a story which has me like on my toes throughout the entire song.
I agree, and I can't even claim one to be more lyrical than the other. These are probably two of the most talented rappers ever in history.
I think from maybe a storytelling perspective, give it to Kendrick Lamar's Section 80 here.
But I mean, like, when you talk about stories, yeah, he has his autobiographical content. But I mean, like, when you talk about like just the raw, unfiltered, it's so different though. It's one perspective from a kid who grew up in Compton, and it's this other perspective of this kid telling you like a summer at camp. Like, it's two very different kind of materials, and it's just so cool to see kind of the Donald Glover Gambino kind of side of what you can rap about. It's not like it's limited to the life in Compton. He just opens up this whole new section of what is able to be discussed, like, unless when he talks about just kind of the heart of relationships and like everything he's gone through on that side, but with such a fresh perspective is what I'll say. It's new, it was nuanced, it was ahead of its time. But at the end of I mean, when we're talking about best albums of this year, I think my personal vote might go to Section 80 just because I think it had more of the sound. It was Kendrick. It was, even though it was different, it still fit that mold that I feel like a lot of people were looking for. Camp might have just been, I think it's like, it gets better every year, quite honestly. Like, it's 2022 and I'm still so attached to Camp, but I see it a lot as more of the storyline for Gambino and how it plays into the rest of the album. So as a standalone album, I might have to give it to Section 80, but
completely agree with you there, and we'll talk more about it in its next matchup. But I think we both agree it's moving on.
Let's move it along. But like
to the final four.
Camp is a masterclass. I hate to see it go. So we'll jump back up to the top. Watch the Throne versus Lasers. You can run through the Watch the Throne track list real quick.
Yep, we got No Church in the Wild, Lift Off, Them in Paris, Otis, Gotta Have It, New Day, Prime Time, Who Gonna Stop Me, Murder to Excellence, Welcome to the Jungle, Sweet Baby Jesus, Love You So, Illest Motherfucker Alive, Ham, That's My Bitch, and Joy. And then I'll move over to Lasers again.
Well, we already talked that.
Yeah, we already talked about it, but yeah.
So, no contest for me.
Yeah, not really a contest at all. We're going to talk a lot more about it later, but
if you want to just hit the pass, we'll get into the Watch the Throne details in a second. So I'm just gonna let's just save the time, man.
No that's contest. Moving on to the final four.
Sorry, Lupe, no contest. Go ahead and tell the track list for Take Care. We got Take Care and Rolling Papers as the last matchup of the Elite Eight.
Take Care. Over My Dead Body, Shot for Me, Headlines, Crew Love, Take Care, Marvin's Room, Underground Kings, We'll Be Fine, Make Me Proud, Lord Knows, Cameras, Doing It Wrong, The Real Her, Look What You've Done, Hell Yeah Fucking Right, Practice, The Ride, Hate Sleeping Alone, and Untitled.
No contest.
No real contest here. Again, this is probably my favorite Drake project, and I don't even really like Drake, so.
I mean, this kind of goes to the same theme we were talking about. Like, Rolling Papers, great 2011 sound, but I mean, Take Care, I'm giving it the no contest. We're just hitting it with the pass. So we'll just jump right ahead into the final four here.
And we're going to break it down again.
Watch the Throne versus Carter 4. Eric's
on one side.
Eric's first seed versus my second seed. And then the other side of the bracket being Section 80, Eric's second seed versus Take Care, my first seed. We'll start with the top half here. Go. Give me your thoughts first. Let's start with Eric.
All right, we're doing Watch the Throne against the Carter 4.
Yeah.
Okay, Watch the Throne. I'm gonna go through this track list, and I mean, No Church in the Wild, banger. Paris, banger. Otis, one of my favorite songs of all time, banger.
He said Paris.
They was in Paris.
Why do you think the song Niggas in Paris is called Niggas in Paris? Because niggas was in Paris.
Gotta Have It, banger. Who Gonna Stop Me, banger. Murder to Excellence, banger. Love You So, banger. Ham, pretty much a banger. I mean, there's at least 10 songs from this album, which I still listen to on a daily repeat. It's one of my favorite. I mean, but like even looking at the spectrum of Kanye albums, I mean, Jay-Z albums as well, but this might not even crack my top 5 like Kanye projects. But I mean, at the same time, this is still just like in 2011, this was one of the things that like everybody tuned in when everyone heard that Kanye and Jay-Z were making an album together. Everyone tuned in. And they might not have delivered as much as people were hoping for, but I think it's still a great project. That's my thought.
Here are really the only two critiques I have about it is that, A, like you said, if you consider it in terms of Kanye projects, it's not my top 5. You know, there's so much Kanye that I love more, but we're trying to be unadulterated with the rest of this. Just for 2011 releases, I don't care what was released before or after. I mean, if this came out in 2011, your eyes and ears are glued to it. Everyone as far as Jay-Z projects, I think it might be in the top 3 for what I rank Jay-Z's projects, but
I mean, I disagree there, but conversation for another day.
I don't care. But I think really the only thing I hate about it is that I want more. I wanted more. Like, what if this was 20 songs? I feel like Kanye and Big Brother could do so much and have done so much. And this is the first time they just have all these tracks laid out where it's both of them, aside from these one-off features here and there. It's just like you have the two best in the world at the time, and I felt so limited by 10. And there were great 10 songs, but like I would have loved to have more content from this. And
Yeah,
so I mean, it's a good pick. It's because the only thing I hate is that there was not that much of it.
Yeah, agreed. I included some of the bonus songs in the track list just in case people may be confused by that.
No, I mean, you're right. Like all the songs are bangers. And
Yeah,
going up against the Carter 4, I just don't know if Lil Wayne can't hold a candle to this. And again, I mean, I think Lil Wayne is a huge statement for 2011, but Jay-Z and Kanye West were perhaps the two biggest names in music. And when you add them together, it's just they got all 5 of the Infinity Stones, like it's an overpowered machine. So I'm going to put in my vote for Watch the Throne.
I'm with you on that one, Mike.
I know you're with me. So sorry, Lil Wayne. You are a god in my own eyes, but we're going to move forward. The other half of the final 4, we got Section 80 versus Take Care. I have my own opinions, but Eric, if you would like to plead your case for Section 80, go ahead.
Yeah, you already know where I stand on this matchup. Yeah, with Section 80, just the fact that he was like retelling real life events, like there's no part of me doubts like any part of the stories that he's telling in this album. Like all of these just like are like he can't make them up. I mean, they're real people. He's like real like things he's experienced in like growing up in Compton, and he just portrays them beautifully in this album. I mean, it's still probably not my favorite Kendrick album. Might not even be my top 3. What was that, Mike?
But Take Care. I'm going to stop you right there. You're right. Kendrick is Kendrick, and he did this amazing thing, and it was beautiful, and it was cohesive, and it was lyrical, and it was just majestic. But I'm going to hit you with the Drake stamp of approval right now, because in 2011, I think I said Jay-Z and Kanye were top 2. Drake,
who was right behind him. Yeah.
He was a consistent third, but then even in this year, I think he kind of jumped the ranks. Like Drake was the face of rap at this time. And I mean, Take Care is so different than the rest of his projects. It wasn't recycled. It was all original. It wasn't getting ahead of himself where he was rapping about the fame necessarily. It was kind of the journey to the fame. And I think it was just another beautiful kind of taste on more of the actual filter on what these rappers are thinking at the time. There's sad songs, there's happy songs, there's pump up, fuck it up songs. There's everything. And I think when you look at the spectrum, rather than just like Section 80 has a very distinct sound. This, you could listen to it any time of day, any time of year, and there's probably a song that fits. I think for 2011, like this thing went off.
I'm going to agree with you there. And I just want to point out some of the great features on Take Care. You have The Weeknd, Rihanna, Nicki Minaj, Rick Ross, Andre 3000, Lil Wayne, and that's it. But I mean, great features, and they all show up.
And so we're gonna take Care on this one. But like I said, Section 80, undisputed, like masterclass of an album. But for 2011 sound, like I said, and we're gonna jump right into the finals here. So we got Watch the Throne versus Take Care, both 1 seeds. Eric's Watch the Throne, mine was Take Care. I know my opinions again, but let's just talk it out. I think Take Care was the best album of the year. I'm gonna lay it on the table. I think every single song in here, it was an unskipped album for me. It had everything. It had Marvin's Room. It had Lord Knows. It had the motto. The motto is still to this day. If you held a gun to my head and made me rap every line of a song to keep my life, I think the motto is the one that I would pick. I think like this was, again, me and Eric just being little dweeb 5th graders when this came out. This was the coolest thing ever. We rapped the motto like it was our job. We listened to this every single day because it was so fresh. It was cool. It was like, that's what people wanted to hear. That's what we wanted to hear. And like I said, as our young age self, as our youths, we weren't playing Watch the Throne every single day, but we were playing the motto damn near every single day. And I think that's a really good statement for 2011 music right there. Watch the Throne has every banger you could need. Like I said, I'm going to give it my dues here too. Like No Church in the Wild, fantastic. Even Hard as a Motherfucker was still hilariously good in its own. Like, what are some of your favorites from that album?
You talking about Watch the Throne?
Mm-hmm.
I was just about to get into that. My only counterpunch for your like argument is just like the weight of the best songs on Watch the Throne. I think can rival the best songs from Take Care. But here's my 2 cents. No Church in the Wild, one of the best like album openers I've ever heard. With Frank Ocean, lovely vocals, of course. I mean, Lift Off featuring Beyonce, great. I mean, again, with the features, all of them great. And then, like I said earlier, one of my favorite songs of all time, Otis. If you haven't heard Otis, please go listen to it. Just an insane sample. I mean, they used him so much, they had to give him a feature credit. Really good. Love You So, another underrated track people might not have heard. Murder to Excellence, great.
Here's my big underrated pick.
Gotta have it.
That's my bitch.
Oh yeah, that's my bitch. Yep.
I love that.
I mean, just when you look at it, I think like the great songs from Watch the Throne are just a smidge better than Take Care. I mean, Take Care might have had more radio play and more mainstream appeal, but I think from a hip hop perspective, I'm gonna have to go with Watch the Throne. But I know you disagree with me.
No. You think Watch the Throne is the clear winner?
I'd like to hear your.
I'm gonna say it might have better songs. It might be a better project. The only thing I'm saying is in terms of 2011 music. I mean, you can give me your final choice, but I just don't know where 2011 albums stack up. I think, like you said, it might be the better team here. It might be the better team, but I mean, in 2018 in the NCAA bracket when UMBC beat number 1 seed Virginia, like it was just that one game they struck them out. They had it when they needed it, and it worked. I don't know if that's Take Care here. I think Drake might have just had the edge in terms of like what could be done in rap music.
And I think now hearing that point of view, just when you look at 2011, Take Care put Drake like in every like household. People knew who Drake was. People might not have known him from his first project, but
and
after
you take this album out of his
Take Care,
he would be a fifth of the guy he is today. Like this is his best album.
I said, this is my favorite Drake album, pretty much unrivaled. So, what are you thinking, Mike?
My vote's Take Care. That's my vote.
It pains me to say it, but I agree with you.
Lord knows. Come on, Lord knows. Like anything with a Rick feature is. Yeah. It had Andre. It had The Weeknd. It had everything you need.
Ricky Rose is pretty unmatched in the feature game. Gotta admit it.
I'm gonna put the pick in for Watch the Throne, and this is a tough scorecard. This is like a 9.9 versus a 9.91. Like
it's tough.
But that's what we're gonna go with.
And maybe if we recorded it on another day, we'd pick Watch the Throne.
True. This could flow like the wind. But today, this is I'm staking my hammer too hard about that. But we'll revisit both these albums, I'm sure, in the future. But right now, Take Care, 2011, #1 album of the year in terms of rap music. So we're going to post this guy up. And this is our 4th episode. From here on out, we're going to start publicizing our page a little bit more. So make sure you follow along on Spotify, on YouTube, at Banger Broadcast for both of those. We're going to have an Instagram at Banger Broadcast. We'll post the updates, some of the results, some of the content. So, stay in the loop. You don't want to miss out. Get under the umbrella, you're going to get wet, So, anything else, Eric? Are you ready to wrap?
Nope. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Really hope you enjoyed. Please tune into the next episodes. Thanks.
Sounds good. Peace.